welcome to my channel. Hi everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to Vlogmas Day 24. Merry Christmas everyone. Good morning, how are you doing? And so I am just sitting here having my morning coffee, and I'm not sure exactly what it is that I want to do until this evening. And I have two recipes that are going to be worked on for you guys a little later on. But I am having my coffee, and I decided to try the Christmas spice flavoring that I purchased last year, and I think I used it once and then I put it away, so I kind of forgot what it tastes like. So let's have a little bit of a taste. That should be enough. I'm going to stir it up. Oh, that's good. I can distinctly taste the flavor of eggnog for one, and it's a little bit of cinnamon and maybe slightly orangey. Let me have another taste. Definitely orangey, maybe a little cinnamon, and I also taste a hint of something like licorice, and so I'm thinking that there is probably anise in here, and it's such a nice flavor. It's also a little minty, so it's a very good flavor overall, and I should have been using this almost every morning if I had only remembered how good this was. So I was all set to try out Tim Hortons hot chocolate, but then I saw that it is very high in sugar. So not only because I'm not fond of a lot of sweet sugary drinks, but because it's not very good for my health, I think I'm going to either take it back or donate it. I think I will donate it in the Christmas spirit because I'm sure someone out there would love to have this. So instead, I thought I would try the regular cocoa powder with the festive eggnog made with oat milk. And so I'm not that fond of oat milk, but I think I can manage to get this down. I love the holiday flavor that this company came out with, and so I'm dying to try these two together. I'm also going to add just a touch of vanilla extract. Let's try this. Oh, that is so good. I love it. I love oat milk too. I'm trying the hot version tonight. So what I thought I would do today is just try to take some time out to relax and not be in such a rush or, a mad frenzy to pick up last minute gifts or anything like that, because I've already done that. And so I thought maybe I would focus a little on self-care and see what exactly is out there to help me bring myself to my better me, if that makes any sense. Besides taking a warm bubble bath, you know what I mean? Hi guys, so here I am on the road, and I don't know about you, but I'm in the mood for a coffee. Another coffee. In fact, make it a latte. So I decided to try the Biscoff latte, and I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to need a spoon. Oh, that's heavenly. Oh, that's heavenly. If you're ever going by Tim Hortons, be sure to try one of their luscious Biscoff lattes. just picked up a few necessities at the store, and I wanted to share them with you because these items are kind of typically used for self-care. And so one of the first items that I saw on the shelf was this orange flavored cuticle oil. And I know that I've been really using my hands a lot lately with cleaning and cooking. And so they're a little worn and torn. And so I thought maybe that this would help me because my nails seem to be very raggedy, and so are the cuticles. They're all kind of uneven. And so I think that happens when you keep your hands in water a lot. So I'm going to give this a try. I just love this holiday themed hand soap, and I just ran out of hand soap, and so I thought I would pick up the cranberry mist flavor and see how that actually works out, because the other ones that I picked up in the previous years, they all worked out so well and they smelled divine. I'm gonna give this one a whiff, and oh, just like cranberries. I just love the smell of this soap, and I cannot wait to try it out. The next item is something that I have been actually needing for a long time, and it is the lip sugar scrub in peach and honey. And I really need this, guys, because even though I do exfoliate, the exfoliation that I use for my face does not work as well on my lips. And I know I have a lot of dry skin there. And so it doesn't help any that I wear a nude color lipstick. It makes it more pronounced. So my goodness, this smells divine, even within the package. And I can't wait to try this out tonight. Now, this last item is so cute, and although I have a few more at home, I actually forgot to buy the moisten ones, which I use. This is for wiping off your makeup, but it's a dry one, and if you can see, it's got a holiday themed design, and it's very cute. And so I just isn't that cute? I just can't wait to pull this out of the box and start using it. And so that is about all I have for you in terms of self-care. And of course, I'm going to run a nice hot bubble bath later on tonight. But first, I have to get to the grocery store and pick up a few last-minute perishables like coffee cream and maybe some eggs. Like that, I have something to tide me over until the holidays are over. I'm not sure if I'll take you along inside the grocery store with me, but I will definitely be meeting you back at home in order to carry out my 2 recipes for Christmas Eve. so I remember telling you last week, I believe it was Monday, that I wanted to work on recipes that mimicked some of the food products that I saw while we were out grocery shopping. And I remember this being one of them. And I think I will actually save this particular one, fettuccine, shrimp fettuccine Alfredo. I'll save this one for another day, another holiday, and simply proceed with my own version of fettuccine Alfredo tonight. Took you shopping with me again a few days back, and I couldn't help but notice this luscious seafood medley, and so I thought that I would start with this as well tonight and see what kind of a version of fettuccine Alfredo I can come up with. This recipe is very, very famous, and I've had it a good many times here in my city and abroad as well, and it's always good. And so what it calls for are the following ingredients: 25 grams of butter, 2 cloves of crushed garlic, 300 milliliters of heavy cream, or whipping cream, and you saw me purchase that in my haul the other day, and 1 teaspoon each of oregano, rosemary, and sage, my favorite spices. 1 small bunch of parsley, fresh parsley from my garden, and some crushed pine nuts. And so, yeah, it also calls for fettuccine or spaghetti, but we can save that for after I prepare the sauce. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now, is preparing the fettuccine Alfredo white sauce. You could also make a seafood, a red seafood sauce, but then it wouldn't be fettuccine Alfredo. It would be something else altogether. And I know that in my culture, in European culture especially, tomato with fish as a sauce is very, very popular for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. But I'm going to forego the red version and just work on the white version for now. Now, the simmering process also calls for white wine, chicken broth, and shallots. And now I believe that what I'm going to be using will be the broth that I prepared for the pineapple mimosa ham that you saw me make the other night. I still have a little bit left over in the freezer, and so that's what I'm going to use. The fettuccine Alfredo sauce is also prepared with 100 grams of grated Parmigiano cheese. along so well, and I wanted to thicken the sauce up just a bit, and you'll find out why in a little while. But I'm going to add some cornstarch to it just to bulk it up a little. My next step will be to preheat the oven, and I'll tell you why in a second, and boil the fettuccine. Normally, I just make my own fettuccine, but I thought that this would speed up the process just a little bit more since I'm kind of pressed for time. Now, what I haven't told you yet is that I decided to go for a baked version of Fettuccine Alfredo. And if it were a casserole, you would add mozzarella cheese to it. So here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to boil the fettuccine. While I'm doing that, I'm going to preheat the oven to 375. And then I'm going to bake a made pizza crust minus the tomato, and I'll put it in and let it cook, and then I'll take it out again. When the crust is ready, I'm going to take out the sauce that has been cooling in the refrigerator, and I am going to just let that sit at room temperature. And meanwhile, I'm going to gather certain ingredients like mozzarella cheese, some black olives, chopped mushrooms that have been recently frozen, and grated Parmigiano cheese, and maybe a little red pepper. I am going to coat the pizza crust with a slight layer of olive oil. Just brush it across, and that'll be done right before I pop it in the oven. So now I'm going to saute the red peppers, mushrooms, and olives in just a little bit of olive oil. The crust seems done, so I'm going to go ahead and add the ingredients on top of the pizza and then pop it back into the oven and let it bake. That is the pizza al Fettuccine Alfredo, and I will promise to let you know how it tastes as soon as it cools off. But for now, I'm moving on to the next recipe that I have for you tonight, and that will be dessert. Now that this is cooled off, I'm going to have a bite. Perfect pizza. Hi everybody. Moving on to our second recipe, we are going to make a very delicious sweet, the Cassatelle. 2 years ago, I made you two versions of the Cassatelle, a beautiful Italian sweet. I made you the white ones and I made you the chocolate ones. And so I have to admit, my passion is with the chocolate one. And so this year I'm only going to stick with one type, and that will be the chocolate Cassatelle. And I also, it can be baked or fried. They're tiny little pastries. And you know, I tried baking them the very first year I did Vlogmas, and they just kind of expanded and they didn't really cook that well. So I think last time I made them, I fried them. And that's what I'll do again this time because I have better results with the frying. So let me read out the ingredients to you. And there are a great many different types of small amounts of varied ingredients, so it's kind of it's not really that complicated, but it's a little complex, and I'll get into it in a minute. But for the pastry, the recipe calls for 2 cups of flour, 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 to 1.5 cups of no, I can't read my writing. I believe that's 1/4 to 1/2 cups of sunflower oil, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And for the chocolate filling, here it is. 2 cups of blanched almonds, 2 cups of sugar, 2¼ ounces of cocoa powder, 3 ounces of chickpeas, 3 ounces of cherries, 440 milliliters of water, 3 ounces of chickpea flour, and the water is very essential to that step. And so the trick to this recipe is that the ingredients have to be cooked on the stove. First you make the pastry, but the filling, for the filling, the ingredients have to be added on top of the stove and cooked in layers, one by one. And so it's kind of a long and tedious process. You can't just dump everything in, which I believe I tried to do before I ever even filmed it, and they flopped completely. So there's a method to this. And so I hope that I remember how it goes, because I don't want to botch this up. It's Christmas Eve and I don't have that much time left. I have to get this out and going. Also, the shaping of the pastry is also pretty tricky. It can be pretty tricky, and that's the part that I always have some problems with. And so after all the ingredients have been mixed and heated in layers one by one, the oven should be preheated at 350 degrees, and you have to shape each little square of pastry, or triangle, or circle, whatever, however you want to shape them. And you have to just fill them with just enough filling so that it doesn't overflow or make a mess in the pan. It has to be just right. And that's the part that I have problems with. So because I am frying them, I don't have to bother with the oven. But if you were going to bake them, after you heat all those ingredients together, that would be the time to turn on the oven and preheat it. But I find it much easier to just simply roll the pastry with the filling in it and then fry them. It turns out better for some reason. And then after they're fried, while they're still warm, you can sprinkle some icing sugar, some vanilla sugar, and maybe a little cinnamon and cocoa powder, whatever you like. And they taste amazing, guys. They really do. This was one of my most favorite sweets of all times when I was a child. And I remember just not being able to wait to get to my dad's friend's house every Christmas so I could take a little pile of these home and save them. You know, take a bite or two at a time and save it, because they would disappear so quickly. There wasn't enough for anybody else, you know, for everybody else, that it could go around and around. And my mom, my late mother, she never made these because with all the cookies that she had, she rarely had time for cassatelle. And my dad wasn't such a fan of chocolate and nuts together. He liked them, but he preferred my mother's almond cookies. But I prefer these, so we're all a little different. So this recipe requires 3 different steps. And so there is the pastry making, the filling making, and the baking or the actual frying. So I am going to prepare the filling first and then set it aside and then start on the dough. And I'm going to try to reduce the amounts of filling and pastry, because I know that it always comes out to be way too much. And I don't want to make too many, because by now it's Christmas Eve and they need to be eaten very fresh. And so that's why I waited for the end to make them. But I don't want to make quite as many as I made 2 years ago. So, all right, I'll flip the view and let you have a look. And I'm going to try to be as quiet as I can. But the water, about a cup of water and 3 ounces of chickpea flour, they go last. I thought I would just get that out of the way. And okay, so, and it's 2 cups of sugar, not just 1. And that's it. Everything else is 2 cups of nuts, 2 ounces of cocoa, 3 ounces of chickpeas, 3 ounces of cherries. And I'm not cooking the chickpeas because they get very watery and messy. So they're just washed and drained, that's it. By the way, before I forget, I'm going to heat the ingredients up on the stove one by one until they're all blended together. And so that's it, basically. pretty good. But I'm not going to add the water because it's just the right consistency. And if I add water, I'll be here all night trying to make it work. So I will add one tablespoon of brandy, however, and that should do it. All done. And now we're moving on to the pastry. So I'm cutting this recipe in half. I'm going to be using 1 egg and about 1/2 a cup of oil. I'm kind of leery on the oil. This is sunflower oil, and I'm going to leave this for last because I'm not sure how much to put in. 1/2 a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 cup of flour, if I haven't already told you, and that will be it. So the sweets are done, and I'm just getting ready to pour a little vanilla icing sugar with some cinnamon over them. And about the shape, I'll let you have a look, and I realized that smaller is much better. I'll let you have a look. So this is actually the ideal shape and not the bigger ones. The very first one I made was so big that it broke. And then I remembered that I had, my technique was so perfect 2 years ago, but I kind of had to start all over again because I didn't realize I was making them too big. And I should have just stuck with this size. These are perfect. And of course, the bite-sized ones are even better. And so they're going to taste just right with a little bit of this icing sugar. And I just can't wait to try one. Well, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed my 2 recipes tonight. And Christmas Eve is so enjoyable this way for me. I had my 2 little events on Sunday, but I much more enjoy doing this on Christmas Eve. It's so festive for me, and I hope that you enjoyed watching and listening. Thank you so much for joining me on Christmas Eve. These really are delicious. I just couldn't wait to have a bite, and it's perfect. Just the way I remember them in my childhood. Again, thank you so much for listening and watching, and have a wonderful Christmas Eve. Bye.